everybody, and welcome to Newsday Today with Charlie Greenwald. Tonight's story is the late-night MBTA service in Boston. For those of you who don't know, the MBTA, the organization that single-handedly runs the T, as it's known to locals, is undergoing some serious changes.
Well, the cancellation in late-night service beginning March 19th.
That's right. 2 weeks ago, the MBTA canceled its late-night T service. Under a new provision that has already taken effect, the T will close at 12:30 on Fridays and Saturdays, as opposed to 2:30, which was the previous cutoff time. And if you're thinking to yourself, well, Charlie, this feels a little sudden, it's because it is.
Hospital workers and cleaning service workers and others have asked for it, and because they asked for it, late night service on the T starts on March 28th.
Wow. Okay, that was back in 2014 when Deval Patrick and inexplicably the Red Sox mascot, Wally, standing directly behind him, initially announced the MBTA late night service. It was introduced as a pilot program, which means that they were testing it to see how successful it would be. The anticipated benefits of the program would include economic growth, a boost to the city's nightlife, and strengthening Boston's reputation as a, quote, thriving metropolis, which we all know it sort of is. As you can imagine, there was a lot of excitement, and most people thought it was a pretty good idea. But then, in 2015, after a year had elapsed, they renewed the program through, apparently, June 19th, 2016, according to the interim review of the MBTA late night service pilot program. Which means that they ended it 2 months early before they were supposed to keep it going until. Why would they do this? Well, according to Boston.com, Assistant General Manager Charles Plank attributed the cancellation to economic struggles, stating that there weren't enough riders on the late-night MBTA to support its continuation, and saying additionally that there aren't many jobs 2 nights a week. Plank also said that the service will save a reported $9 million in expenses. Okay, so we know how you feel. It's a fiscal thing, and cutting the late-night T is going to help you guys out. Is that all that you guys are changing?
The board will consider fare hikes ranging from 5 to nearly 10%. For the average daily rider, that means shelling out more than $100 extra a year.
Okay, an extra $100 a year. That's about 24 caramel lattes that I won't be able to buy, but I can handle that. But how do the rest of your customers feel?
There's a lot wrong with the T, and we need to fix the T, but the burden of doing that shouldn't be placed on ordinary working people.
Yes, Elan Axelbank, whose name sounds like a fictional super soldier in a Tom Clancy novel. You're right. The blame shouldn't be placed on hardworking, ordinary people. Elan was at a public hearing voicing his concerns about the MBTA, a crowded forum that many Bostonians attended, and I understand why these people are frustrated. While the MBTA did extend the program for an extra year, it was also canceled under unfortunate circumstances. When the MBTA voting board came to their decision, only 4 out of the 5 members were there. Brian Lang was reportedly missing from the voting session, and it continued on without him. That's not great timing, Brian Lang. You're 20% of the decision. That would be like if the best man at a wedding decided to renew his driver's license instead of attending the ceremony. He's an integral part of the process. He's holding the ring. You can't just leave, Kevin. What's more, the committee ignored the equity analysis, a federally required study of how ending the service would affect different demographics, which stated that low-income riders would be disproportionately affected. But hey, it's not like people being frustrated with the way things work at the MBTA is anything other than par for the course. The Boston Herald published a video last year on what MBTA riders think about the shuttles in the city, and the results aren't that surprising.
I've been spending a lot more money on Uber, and yeah, I've just been generally inconvenienced by our archaic and ancient subway system.
The MBTA doesn't know what they're doing, and that whole board should be dismissed.
Everybody has suggestions, but no one has an answer for it.
Okay, lots of feelings from citizens. 3 things here. 1, I agree with you, Tony Farrell from Franklin, Mass., but the whole board can't be dismissed when one of them isn't even there to begin with. I'm looking at you, Brian Lang. Second of all, the MBTA has a whole lot of issues. Remember when MBTA Chief Beverly Scott resigned last year due to the outrage over the city's ineptitude in the midst of a grueling, blizzard-filled winter? Even she knew the whole operation was in shambles. Remember last week when Bostonians had to practically beg on their hands and knees for the brand new "pay your fare, it's only fair" siren to stop blasting and harassing them? I mean, that was just like a week, 2 weeks ago. By the way, while we're on the subject, I want to say, "pay your fare, it's only fair" is the worst slogan I've ever heard because it doesn't rhyme. You know, successful slogans need to rhyme, like drive sober or get pulled over. That slogan is interesting and it rhymes, it's very musical. The "pay your fare, it's only fair," ridiculous. I hate that slogan. But anyway, the biggest problem is the archaic train system, and here's what it sounds like to wait for the green line to pull in. Okay, that is just awful. It sounds like the noises a dolphin would make if it was locked in an underwater dungeon. I'm coming to get you, Pepper. But seriously, the city's transit system irks a lot of Bostonians in a lot of different ways. The late-night tea service cancellation is only the latest problem in a long string of them. This is a strong, reliable city, and we need a strong, reliable tea. In a New York Times article published less than a month ago, author Jess Bidgood highlighted the fact that Boston's average age is 31.3, nearly 4 years younger than New York's and 7 years younger than San Francisco's. This is undoubtedly because of the college population, but also because, as one interviewee noted, of the booming biotech industry. This is a population of people that needs a consistent transit service during the nighttime. The late night tea service isn't just for hospital workers and cleaning service officials, as the MBTA committee so rudely implied. It's for bartenders who don't get out until 2:30 in the morning, security officials who are working overnight shift, caterers finally leaving that bar mitzvah, and people who are this close to a one-night stand after a Passion Pit concert but think better of it and desperately need a ride home. Last year, the MBTA had about 13,000 nightly riders. That's just under 5 million riders a year that are being impacted. In the same New York Times article, the author interviewed Sadita Smith, a grocery store worker who said that the new late-night tea cancellation will cut into her $11 an hour wage. And that sucks to hear. President of the Boston City Council, Michelle Wu, expressed her disappointment, saying that she thinks that once Boston commits to helping out the late-night sector of the community, more and more people will utilize the service happily. But until then, it's a chicken and the egg kind of a deal. And she might be right. Somebody has to commit on one of the sides. Neil Peterson, a Bostonian who was interviewed by Boston.com, reflected on a time in 2005 when Boston introduced the Night Owl bus program, which ran buses past 2 a.m. That program was also canceled, disappearing after a year. Look, I get it, MBTA, money is tight. You're trying to save $9 million, and due to total operating expenses, you were only able to put away $300 million out of the $1.8 billion you made last year, which leaves only 13% return in capital. But please, when you're making big decisions that are impacting thousands of people and their well-being, either never have something awesome, or set up something awesome and stick with it. The waffling that you do on a daily and weekly basis irritates tons of people, and we're all affected by it. You know what? Let's just change the subject. You just finished Government Center, right? The construction there, that's supposed to be pretty nice. I know it was down for a few years, and I know that the new building is supposed to help handicapped travelers access the T a little bit easier. How did that go? Any issues on the first day? Oh my God, a fire alarm was set off because of dust in a utility closet? What is wrong with you people? You know what, that's it. Anytime you have an issue with the T, be it a fire alarm, a delay, a rickety torturing screech, an annoying intercom message, or the fact that because of this whole screwed up system we'll never be able to stay out late in the city, tweet out to @MBTA using the hashtag MBTAholes, because that's who they are. A-holes who can't commit to anything.